Finally, we are ready to build your 10x program. How many days per week do you want to train? Do you want to do all 3 types of routines, alpha, beta, or gamma? Remember, alpha, beta, and gamma are just complementary optional routines. And we also look at which days of the week you'd like to train. So let me show you how we would go about building your program. Remember, we're not building a program in this series. We will do that in the 10x Starting Guide series. So let's get started. So what is a 10x program? Well, it really is the total number of 6x alpha routines performed each week. It's once or twice, you'll see, with complementary or optional 6x beta and 6x gamma routines. Now, we have 2 types of routines. As I mentioned before, we have the 10x Optimus. We train twice a week, right? So the minimum number of workouts will be 2 times per week, and there'll be 2 6x alpha routines. And then you have 10x Minimus, where you do 1 really hard 6x alpha routine. Now, this means you could still have, so when I say you train twice a week, this excludes your beta and gamma routines, because I don't really think of beta and gamma as making up the core part of your program or focus. And so if you, let's say, trained twice a week and you did your 3rd workout because you felt like, okay, you felt like doing a beta routine, you had extra time, let's say on a Saturday, and you felt inspired to do so, then yes, you did 3 workouts, but again, you completed your 2 6x alpha routines, which were really your focus for that week. And it's really a bonus if you get to your beta or gamma, right? So unless we put way more importance on them because that's what you need. Again, there are 2 types of programs, the Optimus and the Minimus. So let's take a look at each of them. So here's an example of if you were to train, let's say on a Monday and a Thursday, 10x Optimus, which is twice a week, you do a 6x alpha routine on a Monday, you take off on the Tuesday, you take off on the Wednesday unless you felt inspired to do a beta routine. If you did feel inspired to do a 6x beta routine, the best time to do it on this Wednesday. I know you will not be, well, if you're a complete beginner, maybe you will be, but you will not be so sore or fatigued that it will really impact your 6x alpha routine. So you'll do your beta routine here, then you'll do your 6x alpha routine again on Thursday, you're off on Friday, and then on Saturday, you'll do your 6x gamma routine. Again, these are both optional. And then Sunday, you're off. On the Minimus side, you will do 1 workout. So again, you would then do it on a Monday. You'd be off on Tuesday and Wednesday. And if you felt inspired to do your 6x beta routine, you would do so on the Thursday. And then you're off on Friday. You do a gamma routine on the Saturday, and again, off on Sunday. But you could even do your 6x gamma routine on the Sunday as well. But this is just what an ideal scenario would look like. Okay, so let's say you didn't want to train on Monday and Thursday. Well, then you would train on a Tuesday and Friday, and this is what it would look like. So you would be off on Monday, you train on Tuesdays and Fridays, and then again, if you felt moved to do a beta routine, or it's part of your program, and meaning we may make it mandatory as not just optional depending on your needs, you'll do it on a Thursday and you do your gamma on a Sunday, exactly like this. This is going to be the best way for you to, let's say, supplement your alpha routines with beta and gamma. Same with Minimus, you'll do Tuesday and then you're off on Wednesday, Thursday. On Friday, you'll do a beta, or you'll be off. Saturday, you'll be off. Sunday, you'll be off, or you'll do your 6x gamma routine. Now, again, it's possible that you can also just, if you really, let's say, for example, you really need to focus on some of your hip exercises to strengthen the hip bone, and you didn't want to do your beta, you could literally just do your alpha, and then you'll do a 6x gamma routine any day of the week here. Probably, I prefer that you would, any day from Thursday, maybe 1 day rest here, you could basically do your gamma routine on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And again, if you wanted to train Wednesday and Saturday, this is what that would look like. And the biggest difference here is you would take off Monday and Tuesday here, and then on Wednesday you do your alpha, Saturday you do your alpha, and then you would do your beta right on Friday, and then your gamma on a Sunday. Now, some of you may ask me, well, why don't I just do my 6x gamma here so I've got more rest between days? Now, the reason is that if you can do a gamma routine on a Monday, you could do your alpha routine on the Monday, right? So I prefer that If you can train on a Monday, you should be doing your 6x alpha routine as the first workout of the week, not your gamma. You're not starting off with your gamma routine because life gets hectic, runs away from you, and next thing you've only done a gamma routine and maybe a beta routine or a 6x alpha routine or whatever, and you're going to miss your second workout. So first workout of the week always is going to be alpha, right? So this is assuming you are off on Monday and Tuesday. You can only train Wednesdays and Saturdays, and this is how you would do that. For minimus, same thing. You would just train on Wednesday. You'd be off, or you would do 6x beta on Friday and your gamma on a Sunday. So how many times per week should you train? Now, this comparison slide should basically give you sufficient guidance to make that decision. So first of all, if you are a beginner, if you are someone who doesn't have who's not engaging in any other type of resistance exercise training, and 10x is going to be your primary resistance exercise program, then I highly recommend the 10x Optimus program where you train twice a week. If, for example, you are already exercising and you would like to supplement your program with 10x as a foundation in strength, for example, maybe you are doing some gymnastics, or you are a coach or like a yoga instructor and you are quite active and you don't want to train twice a week or go that intense twice a week, then I recommend you do the 10x minimus where you only train once a week. Now there are certain conditions to both. Let's quickly go through them. So the focus for your 10x minimus is where if you want to go really hard once a week. Another reason you could choose a 10x minimus program is sometimes your rate of recovery is really slow, and so you just don't feel recovered enough to do your second 10x workout, let's say on the Thursday, if you did your first workout on the Monday. And so many times you could just skip your Thursday workout and just stick to a once per week, okay? Now, remember that twice a week is going to give you the best results in the beginning, so that's the growth program. Again, if you are an athlete or you're trying to supplement your existing program with very efficient strength training or resistance exercise, then it is going to be primarily a maintenance program for you. Also, when you are on the 10x Optimus program, you have the option then to vary routines, meaning if you did 6x alpha, 1 this week, on a Monday, you could then select a different exercise on, let's say, the Thursday. So you can actually have two different types of routines. Again, still 6 exercises per routine, but you can kind of vary the exercises a little bit for some variety on the Monday and the Thursday. But when you are on the minimus, stay on the exact same workout. Let's say if you train every Monday, 10x once a week, stay on the exact same workout so you can compare apples to apples and try to make progress on the same workout week to week. If you keep changing exercises and you're not really tracking, unless you don't really care, you're not someone who's tracking and you just want to sort of, do the workout and you do it for different purposes, then I suppose that's okay. But really, if you want to get the best out of your 10x sessions, you want to track them. I'm going to teach you how to do that. And so what you want to do is stay on the same workout if you are doing it once a week. Also, if you are training once a week, the best experience is on machines, hands down. It's going to be the best experience. So for example, if you are training twice a week, one day you could do machines, another day you could do a train at home. So you have the option to vary, but try not to vary equipment, exercises, or workouts too much when you're training only once a week. I hope that makes sense. All right, so now let me quickly give you an example of what a workout looks like. Okay, so this is an example of a 10x Optimus workout where you train twice a week, let's say a Monday and Thursday. Now, what I want to demonstrate to you here, because I think you pretty much get it already, is that on Monday you'll do your 6x alpha routine. You could pretty much do that at the gym, and then you could do a mixed workout at home for your second workout. And so for your 6x beta routine, you could also do that at home, and gamma you could also do at home. So let me show you, if you were on a 2-day per week program, training on Monday and Thursday, what that would look like if you were to mix things up. This is a very popular type of approach to the 10x Optimus program. So on Monday, you would do your 6x alpha 1 on machines at the gym, leg press, lat pull down, chest press. hinge, row, press. Or again, you could just do leg press, lat pull down, chest press, and then you can do leg press again instead of the hinge and do row and then the press. That's on Monday. Tuesday, you're off. Wednesday, you're either off, or you could optionally, you could do your 6x beta routine, right? So Wednesday, you're off, or if you feel like it, you feel recovered, you feel strong, you have the time, you could do your 6x beta routine on your Thursday, which will look like this. You could, let's say, do it at home, where you would do a calf raise, weighted calf raise, weighted back extension, a leg raise with the legs extended, weighted hip thrust with dumbbells, tricep kickback, and then bicep curl with dumbbells. And you do that on the Wednesday. Again, 1 minute per round, 6 minutes of total work, roughly 10 to 12 minute workout according to the 10x standard. And then again on Thursday, you do your second 6x alpha routine. Okay, and here it would be mixed, right? So you would do a weighted squat, you would do an assisted pull-up, you could do a push-up. This is now obviously at home. Don't need to go to the gym for this. And then you would do again, a hinge. And I like this because let's say you own a kettlebell, you can do a squat with a kettlebell, you do the pull-up, push-up, both body weight. You only need a kettlebell in this workout. And then you have your hinge. It's like a deadlift with a kettlebell. You do your row, and then you'll do your chest dip. And it's quite cool because these are real scenarios, right? I actually have a workout where I do exactly this, where you have gymnastics rings where for your row and your dip, and your kettlebell for your hinge and your squat, and of course your pull-up and push-up on the floor or on your pull-up apparatus. And then Friday you're off. Moving on to Saturday, you have the option then to do your 6x gamma routine. Again, this is your supportive routine. And again, this would be mixed, done at home. And so either you take off on Saturday or you do your gamma routine, which would look something like this. You do your adductor and abductor series, 2 exercises, your thoracic complex series, where you do an ab crunch, and then your thoracic extensions, and then your 4-way neck exercise. You then do your hip extensions, lifting the legs high for roughly 12 reps until you hit failure, again, according to our standard. You would then do a shrug and depression, and then your wrist curl on a Saturday. You would then be off on Sunday. All right, so let me give you an example of what the 10x minimus workout or program looks like, where you train only once per week. So let's say on Monday, you do a mixed session, off on Tuesday, off on Wednesday, optional to do a 6x beta routine. Here you could do machines, and then 6x gamma you could do mixed again at home. So here's an example where, again, now you're doing a bit of a mix. So why? Okay, so a mix could be you go to the gym and you could literally select different exercises. And so, for example, you could do leg press here, you can do a pull-up, you could do a dip at the gym, then you can do leg press again, still a low body exercise. You can then do a row and then do a shoulder press. You're off on Tuesday, off on Wednesday, and then you have the option to do a 6x beta routine on Thursday. So you can either take off, because remember it's optional, or you do your calf raise, back extension, and then you do your leg raise, followed by your hip thrust, triceps and biceps, and again, full body workout for those small to medium size muscle groups. Friday, you're off. Saturday, you have your 6x gamma routine. And again, that's going to be very similar to the one we went through in the 10x Optimus program. Saturday, you're off, or again, you do the 10x Optimus program, like what we just went through. And then Sunday, you're off. And there you have it. That's what your 10x Minimus and 10x Optimus programs would look like.